images that Nate had.
Corridors, like we can walk through.
Right, and the amphitheater would be more like those steps, and that wall would go away.
My issue with the amphitheater is because we've seen the steps and with the water. Wouldn't that be a hazard problem with it being slippery on the cement?
No, the water itself is down below.
In like this circular area, the water would be, conceptually, what we're showing now, it's not like set in stone, but conceptually what we're showing is the water would be contained on the ground bottom level of the circle, and then the steps would be back from there, and not have water on the steps.
Okay, and another thing too, the reference to making it a play area, there's not a lot of areas in Allentown for our kids to play at all. Allentown used to be a parks full for our kids, and parks used to be all working for our kids, especially at that park and at Fountain Park was one of the hubs, and Roosevelt Park was a hub, but mainly that one was the first in the hub. I grew up there. I remember that little green thing spraying out water, so I think if not converted like Bucky Boy, you'll have something, maybe 1 or 2 pieces at least, so when winter does come, you can take them down, and it still can be a place for the play, but easy to put up or something, or convert to where they can sit under it when it gets cold. That's my question. And then that's one part. The other part is for the basketball court, half court. It does need it for the kids, because kids always gotta wait for the bigger kids to finish. He's right, it's smart to put it back off in the right-hand corner, half court, small, lower courts for kids under the age of 12, where they can play as well as the school, as well as the little kids leagues can play up there and practice well now outside instead of waiting for the adults to finish. So it would help both, because you have a lot of kid leagues now, and they need it. Also too, for the bathrooms, I understand the situation with the bathroom, because I'm with Bucky Boyle Park, and our bathrooms got shut down because of people being ignorant and busting them up. I know there's ways that you can put bathrooms in there that can get broken easily, because I know over there at Lehigh Park, where their bathrooms are set up, you can't destroy them. So I know there's a way that you can set it up where it's a bathroom, and I know Lehigh Parkway has like a sewer septic type of thing. They come in and clean it out. Even if you don't have running water, maybe you can set that off, maybe over here to the corner where storage is, where it's like Parkway, and it's not as cost efficient for water to get broken up so easily.
Yeah, no, there's definitely ways you can try and make these things as rate-proof as possible. You know, people are creative, right? Kids especially, on how they might want to do something, and you just hope that eventually they don't, and everyone sort of polices each other as much as anything else too.
And stuff, so anything's possible these days with the way y'all have stuff.
Can I ask a question? Because we kicked around an idea about the basketball court, specifically the half basketball court. What are the thoughts on a basket that could be lowered?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I have little kids,
Regardless, because of the fact that he's right, there is a lot of inner city AAU, summertime leagues, year-round leagues. Kids just want to learn how to play. It is hard for a child to want to play on a full court when you got grown people out there. It just makes sense because it's a green area, multi-green use. Why not put something there for the kids? And he's right. It's not rolling in the street. It's not near the adults, and it's right by the playground where the kids are playing. So it kind of separates itself. And I've been dealing with kids for 30 years. I mean, he does basketball leagues. This person does basketballs. Pretty much the majority of us do our time in the community with kids. So I'm telling you, as a person that volunteers my time for over 30 years with kids, that makes more sense to have the extra half court away from the adults in the kids area. And then it kind of like separates, because no grown-up doesn't need to be over the kids area if it's this low.
Yeah, well, can I ask a question about that? Because we've had issues when rims have been lowered in other areas that the older kids come and want to dunk on them and
No, she said there's gonna be signs. She just said the sign.
So is that something, like, is that something we should be worried about? Like, do you think that's gonna be an issue here? Is that, we don't wanna put something
It'll definitely
we don't
be
wanna put something in that then gets broken.
Like I said, we talked about it internally, and that was our concern.
You're always going to have a knucklehead or two. These our batteries are down for the knucklehead kids that mess it up for everybody. Unfortunately, you got kids out here these days, and adults out here these days that don't respect stuff, but that's where you have your park patrol to keep an eye out on this. Unfortunately, it's the way of the world that people aren't teaching their kids any better, and adults are ignorant, but that's not everybody.
But this is good though.
Good. So now that everyone's gotten a chance to at least get some thoughts out, I think maybe we'll just go like sort of by raising hands if people have other thoughts they want to bring up, and we'll work our way around the room. Go ahead. Well, I'm going to sort of follow that same theme.
Ryan didn't have his chance yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's just a question because it seems to be a theme that was brought up specifically with the amphitheater and spray park and the green space. And then what I'm hearing about bringing more activity to the basketball court, and as someone who organizes events, how those areas work for you with the trade-off. For example, you bring in Cops Meets Block. Is something like an amphitheater worth it to be convertible with a flat speaking space, or the above ground features of Bucky Boyle as a spray park? So when we wrote from the previous meeting about the features you wanted and things we were hearing, it wasn't, we didn't want to put up what we have at Bucky Boyle, but we heard the need for convertible space. So my question, based on seeing the concept, is there enough space to do the events like that? Is there something you're seeing with those events in mind should change around?
I think it would make it even better for the Cops Meets Block, for real. Because from the standpoint is that, you know, the kids have more things to do than the things that I might bring to the table.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so I think it would be great. I think.
All right. Great. So you had your hand up if you have other comments.
So I think that if, since everybody's concerned about the water park area, maybe we can, with the grass area there, we can kind of do what we do at the arts park. There's nothing, we don't need benches to sit there and watch a movie, or, you know, we can sit in the grass. Right. I mean, the arts park just kind of projects it right
when you say
there.
the grass area, are you talking about this area
the
right?
The middle area there.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So
yep.
yeah, we can use that for football and playing tag, freeze tag, but we can also have our movies there, maybe in the back, and everybody just pops up in their chairs and a blanket. I mean, that's how we did it at the arts park, and they have free movies in the summer for the kids, and, you know, for families. And then you can have your above ground water park if that's something that's cost effective. I mean, we can use that grassy area for a lot of things. Yeah. That's
All
what
right.
I'll
Okay.
put that over there.
Yep, we're going to work our way around back to you. Go ahead.
This is just a real quick on that amphitheater, which I feel the amphitheater is necessary. I know that there's a lot of people here that pick up the guitar, pick up the harmonica, whatever. So like at night, they could be playing music there, or there could be some spoken word or whatever. But I feel like it should turn. I don't like that the benches face the street, and then if you're over here, you're not seeing your kids in there because that wall of benches is up high. You know what I mean? Just turn it.
So she's saying oriented.
Just turn it.
I think the struggle is the topography of the site lends it that way. You'd be basically fighting the natural grade of the
But you
site.
can still have the water, just turn the seating.
No,
I see what you're saying.
But
You know what I mean?
Greg, if
Because
I'm
you
wrong,
don't
the
see
topography
any
of the site, it
kids.
gets a little higher here.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right, so
it's a
you
big
would naturally be
hill.
building a
Yeah,
retaining
it's
wall
a
back up
hill.
this way based on how the
You can
topography
see.
is.
Yeah, you're kind of sliding it into the
Because
hill.
I just don't see that, like, you could be over here and you're like, where's my kid? Now I gotta walk all the way around there and go over to the front of that.
Well, there's that where it's, you know, you wouldn't have to walk all the way around. There's, you know, these steps.
Just,
so you can come in.
that line of sight.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You know, you go up to the top, you can see it over, you take 2 steps up, you can see it across.
Exactly, right, just stand up.
Yeah,
Right,
stand.
right. And I think the presumption too is that amphitheater space is, like you said, for a program where they're presenting to kids and the kids are up on the steps, or it's a performance like you mentioned where it's adults and maybe it's not a time that the kids are in the park as much.
Right, it could
It's
be,
more of
you
like
know,
an
early
evening,
and somebody
right,
busts out
right.
a
So I
guitar and
think
make 'em play
the
and-
thought isn't necessarily that parents are coming to hang out at the park, they sit in the amphitheater while their kids are on the tot lot. I don't know that we see that
Right.
happening as much.
How many steps are on the amphitheater?
There's just some shown.
Yeah, it's not intended to mean there's gonna be that many steps.
How about that answer? There's some.
We know that our kids will go to the top and, you know, jump off and come back in. And they'll create their own game.
Yeah.
If it's-
Which is kind of cool, right? Like I think sometimes we don't give kids enough credit that they do invent their own
Be
games,
creative.
right? And then when they do it, we're like, well, knock that off. There's and so it's a hard give and take. You had another comment, yeah?
Mine is about the whole overall safety and the time that it's gonna be efficient for the children, because other children will migrate to other parks, and then you'll create a chaos that you'll wonder why kids are getting hurt in other parks because they don't live in that area. because kids do have a zone and they have it in their head. Because like she said, they're not taught right. So some kids, when they want to go to another park because their park is not efficient, they go to another park and they either get stereotyped or stigmatized about who they are or where they're from, just because they want to have fun.
That's nothing we
Well,
can
no,
control.
but there can be ample time that, you know, it doesn't have to be prolonged 4 years to do a park.
Oh, you're saying can it be done quicker so that
Well,
the
yeah,
park
because
isn't
these
down
kids need
for
somewhere to
No,
go.
just can it be done, we have to work on it.
They can't go out to Cedar, they can't go out to Cedar and run. I run out to Cedar. I've been
They have
chased
no
by
ride out
dogs,
there.
I've been it's just crazy. And there's other parks I've been to too.
Right now.
Those children, Afro-American, Hispanic, can't go to other parks and just show up.
Yeah, and right
They
now,
can't.
we only have.
I can go to
like-
Bethlehem, the same
Right.
area, they can't.
And right now, we only have so many pools. So the kids that live in that area, it's a heck of a walk to get over to the pool. It's a dangerous walk to get over to the pool. I mean, like, I know what he's saying, you go to another pool, you go up to Whitehall, they're gonna be like, what are these black kids doing up here? They don't live here. And that is how it is. But, so these kids have nothing. They need this, we need it fast.
Yeah,
Because
no.
they have nowhere to go. There's a whole housing development over there. And those kids, to walk over to that pool, I think it's almost like 2 miles.
Right dots.
To walk
pretty
down
good
to
walk,
Cedar
right?
Beach is close, well, Cedar's not even open yet, but to go down to Cedar Beach is like 2 miles. And,
Yeah, it seems like a common theme. Everyone's eager for it to happen, and you know, I think
yeah.
you hear some nodding heads or see some nodding heads. That's what we're here for.
So where would you put because you have that space right there as far as the lighting for that's over top of the basketball court? Because of that green's there, because the lights are like right in that area. So how would you restructure the,
We have existing lighting in there that would have to get worked around.
Yeah, so, I mean, this concept, if you're asking like where would the specific light poles go?
I mean,
light
would they
the-
remain where they're at due to the green space? Or
I think we have to look at that. I don't,
It's not hard to move them.
It would be,
that electricity is,
Yeah.
No, but it's just
I think it
wiring.
would
It's
just
not
be a
hard.
part of.
They can be
the
expensive.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Bottom line, that's a really good question, and that's something that has. to
And we may get to the
lighting
point,
for
like
the
we said.
basketball court, if the, you know what I
Right.
mean, at night, the lighting has,
There was
it,
night games and
you
stuff
know,
like that.
it's important.
Right.
I mean, that they're on a certain angle or that they're in a certain position.
Right.
You know, because
And
we
their
only have,
position now is okay?
right, the position now is okay, because we only have 2 lights, but they fill the whole court,
Okay.
you know?
And that could be something like I said before, when you peel back that next layer of the onion, we don't have those existing light poles, but maybe they become a fixed feature, maybe they don't move, and you figure out a way to work this green around them, because when you start to look at what it would cost to move them,
Right.
you say, well, shoot, that's the money we'd rather invest in the bathroom. So leave the poles right where they, and those are sort of like the discussions that you end up having to have, right? Like,
They're not
can we
bad.
figure out a
They're
way to
not
leave the
bad.
poles where they
They're not
are
bad.
and use the money that you would have otherwise used to move those poles for something else? And I highlight the bathroom just because there's been clearly consensus about the bathrooms. But, you know, it could be something else, right? Who knows what that other thing is?
Can you add more lights to the existing screen that's up there now? Like there's 2 poles with.
2 lights.
Nate's way smarter at this
So
than
you
you are.
add 4 on each of them.
We'd have to take a look at what's out there. It doesn't mean that we can't put more on there, or we can't add additional lighting.
It doesn't also mean, correct me if I'm wrong, that the actual fixtures that are there couldn't just be upgraded. So let's say, you know, whatever, there's 4 or 6, what out there now, you could put 4 or 6 better LED or technology, whatever it might be, and you might not have to put any more heads. You just get better light throw from a new feature.
If one of the things people say is they want better lights, then they look at how to make the basketball court better lit.
Now, Chris, you know, on the poll, when we asked to rename the court to JoJo Smith Court, is there any possible, I mean, because it's like a small plate, like you know, something that's stuck on a pole. Is there any way that we can incorporate like the park where my kids live? They had a young girl who passed away, and they have it's like a rock, but it has a plaque,
Like a metal
plaque
set into it, right?
And it, you know, that soccer field is named after her, and it's right at the entrance where you're going into the court.
Well, and maybe I think that can be part of the history conversation, because I think we need to almost have like a separate couple conversations about how we want history incorporated and where, and that can be part of those built-in bleachers, those
Okay, because
steps.
a lot of people ask about that, but it's like, if you walk through that park and you don't see that little plate out
Right.
there, you don't
Make it
know.
more visible.
We
And I
miss
think
it.
everyone seems to really want the history part of this park to be very visible and very big part of the park. So
And
think
I would
that's
suggest that a
something-
good way to do it is when we get to the next design phase and you start to turn these into engineered drawings and things like that, you know, I don't know what the count is, but Nate's probably got a million photo examples of different ways you can do it. And that doesn't mean like, oh, we want to do it that way, but you might see something like, oh, that looks nice. How could we incorporate or follow that theme into what we have here? Because no two situations are the same, but you can pick out themes and be like, everyone likes the way that generally came across. Like you said, is a boulder with a stone, with a metal plate set in it the absolute right thing? No, but you knew right away that appealed to you for some reasons, and how do you incorporate those themes into what might work here?
This is a great idea because, by doing this, if it ever comes to fruition, it's a great idea because now we can start bringing things back to the park that left. Like youth basketball, church basketball leagues, things. Well, we'll get with Chris, he'll come see, but nevertheless, adult basketball, you know what I mean? And so,
Well,
I think,
and that kind of programming right out of the gate, in my experience, engages or re-engages aspects of the community so that you may hopefully deter some of those negative, like you said, those bad choices. If you re-engage, hopefully you limit those bad choices that might be otherwise
and
made.
like I said, if we, and I believe we can do it, get a group of men who actually care about the park and the community, if we got together and kept things a bit in line, whereas the police, all we just need them to do is just ride around every now and then, but we could handle our community if, given the chance and we all got together.
The best police force is often it's the community itself, right?
Yes.
Right. Go ahead, you.
Again, the park is historical, and I think it's important for our kids, not so much as an adults, and I always say this all the time, we've grown. Our kids need somewhere to go, our kids aren't even playing no more, and everybody's so worried about the adults, when the parks are really created for kids to be active, and our kids don't do it no more. So that's why I think it's vital to put something here for the kids as well, not just a full court for the adults. But I'm going off key right here, Chrissy, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. But if the water park is not feasible here, the other park that is a historical, multiracial park of innovation is Fountain Pool. Is there any plans, since you couldn't make this a water park, to make Fountain Pool a water park? Or is that gonna be a doggy
I will
park?
absolutely come and talk to you about that once we finish this conversation. I just wanna make sure, because we're getting a little bit late, I wanna make sure we get any last comments and then we let people kind of, head out.
Let's talk about you.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to reiterate on what he said about our community being involved. I think we need to be really careful when we appoint our community members to, I don't know what you're saying, like I know what you're saying is to kind of oversee.
Like security.
Yeah, but I think it's a really,
watch.
it's a really tight situation there though, because we need clearances. I'm really big on safety and safety for my child, and working for a school, I had to have clearances just to work there. So I think, and that's great that people want to be involved and our community does, but we had to make sure they all can pass,
All that
child
comes into play
clearances.
after we talk afterwards.
Sure, yeah, we have to be a little weird with that, a little
For sure.
cautious about
For
that
sure.
stuff, being around our kids.
One last.
I just like to say, because overall, this is for the children, so we can rally the children to help keep the park clean. There's a few adults that oversee it, especially the ones who come bring the kids in a group. Encourage the kids to help keep the park clean. Y'all can do that.
Well, we also have the clean team, they're very cheap, and the guys really need the work as well. I mean, our clean team is another community program we have to help clean. So
And a bunch of the kids said they want more trash and recycling bins in the park because they don't like the litter. That was what the kids that come to our
Usually the best recyclers are kids.
Those are the kids at our summer playground program. So they're learning a little bit about that, and they're excited about it. Maybe I came right after recycling people, but they were really excited about that. They wanted to be clean. So that's cool.
Because if you ask the kids, they're gonna come in there.
Yeah.
Saving kids' lives.
Yes. 100%.
Thank you guys very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Stick around for a few minutes if you have other stuff.
Thank you.
That's a wrap. Put our email addresses